Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and if you've been following the channel recently, back in June, my wife and I purchased our new full-time overland travel vehicle, a Rossmonster Baja. We absolutely love that vehicle for what our plans are with traveling full-time and getting out to remote destinations and being able to stay there for a while. But the biggest gripe that I have had with the Rossmonster since we got it is the amount of power that it came with. Now, I mean, Rossmonsters, you can get it with different power levels, but we did buy ours very, very mildly used. And it came with 660 amp hours worth of battery. Now, for us and what we've had in our Jeeps and stuff, that sounds like a lot. Like, that sounds like a lot of power. But what we've learned is that when you're talking actually, being off grid and camping in a spot for extended periods of time, having 600 watts of solar on the top, but may or may not be able to depend on full sun during the day to top those off, microwave, induction cooktop, 3,000 watt inverter that we're running, charging batteries off of, running computers off of, heater off of, all the normal stuff that you would have, living off grid for an extended period of time. 660 amp hours doesn't last as long as you would think it might. So I knew I needed to add more power, and that's been one of my plans since the day we picked it up, is to add more power. Now, it did come with the Victron system. It has a full decked out Victron system inside, which is really, really nice. Victron is, I would honestly say, probably top tier brand when it comes to, 12 volt systems for vans, RVs, trailers, that sort of thing. Victron is top tier, and it has a price to go along with it. But I thought the obvious solution was to get another 330 amp hour battery, drop it in there, boom, done. That would have been the easiest solution. However, these batteries cost $2,440 each, which is mind-blowing that a single battery would cost that much. So I started looking around. Found this one. It is the Wattcycle 314 amp hour battery. That is $470. So for significantly less than the price of one of these, I now have 3 of these batteries in the Rossmonster. And for the almost $2,500 for this one, I could have gone with 5 of these. And if I had the space for that many batteries in my compartment in there, I might have done that. But I really only got space for 3. And so I got 3 of these. Now, if we're talking, full amp hours, this was 660 with 2 of these. I now have 942 amp hours with the Wattcycle. We're talking, if you want to compare that to watt hours, the Victron, this single battery is 4,420 watt hours, and the Wattcycle is 4,019. So not a lot of difference between the two. Considering the cost difference between them, let me run through the specs. And just to show you another reason why we went with these. Now, before anyone goes to the comments and says, yeah, but the Wattcycle, it's a Chinese battery. So is the Victron. It says right here on top. Designed in the Netherlands, made in China. So both of these are made in China, if that matters. All batteries are made in China now, for the most part. But so that's irrelevant. But for the cost, there's some significant differences between them that you would think would be flipped. So let's get into it. So Wattcycle says that this is made with EV grade A+ cells. I couldn't find anywhere on Victron's website where they specify what grade cells these are. I mean, they've got to be top tier because it's Victron, but these are EV grade, which is one of the highest grades, A+ grade cells. Cycles, life cycles. This one, 2,500. 2,500 cycles to 80% depth of discharge. 6,000 cycles for the Wattcycle. I think that's got to have something to do with the different grade cells that are being used in the batteries, and the fact that this one has EV grade cells. This one's rated at 6,000 cycles to 80% depth of discharge. That's a huge difference in longevity between these two batteries, especially when you're considering living off grid, like we're planning on doing, living on the road full time. Both batteries have app support. Victron has a fantastic app that communicates with all of their stuff. It's been fantastic. Wattcycle has a fantastic app for theirs that allows you to monitor all the important things, including temperature, of course, charging and discharging and all those sort of things, cell balancing, all that sort of stuff. The BMS, the battery management system for each one of these. Wattcycle has theirs built in. They have a built-in BMS in here that regulates, it's the brains of all the things, charging, discharging, voltage, current, temperature regulation, all that sort of stuff is built into this. Victron, you have to buy that separate. This is the Victron VE Bus BMS V2. It's another $150 add-on. But this, let's see, you connect the batteries to each other for the brains, and then this connects to this, so that this then connects to other things, and this is the one that manages all that sort of stuff. It's not built into the battery, so that's important. That's key. Now let's talk about like charging and discharging, because again, you would think some of these would be flip-flopped considering 2500 versus 470. The Victron, when it comes to charging, rated for max charging of 400 amps, but rated for continuous normal charging 150 amps. I don't know what the max is of this, but it's rated continuous normal charging at 200 amps. So 200 amps versus 150 amps. Temperature differences are big. This has temperature cutoff charging at 41 degrees Fahrenheit. We will be in sub 41 degrees a lot. It's wintertime now. So this one cuts off charging at 41 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a big deal. That's why this actually does have a heater on it. That is, again, an add-on. This one will charge down to 21 degrees Fahrenheit. It will keep charging down to 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So well below freezing on this, which is fantastic. Now, it does drop the charging current to be able to charge that. It's not going to charge at full 200 amps at that temperature. It will drop that down, but it will still charge well below freezing, which is significant when you're living off grid. Discharging, 300 amp standard, 400 amp max. A little bit less on this one, 200 amp standard, which is totally fine. There's nothing in the Rossmonster that pulls anywhere close to 200 amps. 600 amp max though, if you need the push. So it will do 600 amps for a short amount of time compared to 400 amps, but continuous 300 to 200. So, 200 amps is plenty for discharging. The induction stove, the microwave, none of that comes close to pulling that much power. Temperature range. Again, this will cut off discharge at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really, really, really cold. This will cut off discharge at -14 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we're going to the Arctic Circle in the wintertime, that little bit, -14 might come in handier than -3. We don't plan on doing that, but it's an interesting fact that this goes to -14 and this is -3. Now the warranty on these, again, you would think this would be flipped. The Victron, 3 years, just a flat 3 years. The Wattcycle, 5 years. And if you register it, you get an extra 2. So 7 years worth of warranty, 6,000 cycles versus 3 years worth of warranty, 2,500 cycles. That's huge. I mean, when you're planning on living on the road full time, where this thing's constantly being charged and discharged, that's significant. That's a huge deal. So that's crazy. That 7 years of warranty versus 3 years, $2,500, $470. Doesn't make sense, does it? And then I don't know how many of these you can connect together. I didn't see that in the specs. But if you need to create a massive battery bank, I mean, you've got like a big RV, or or you just want to put all the power you possibly can in a van or a trailer or something, you can connect up to 16 of these together. You can have, it's called a 4S4P, 4 batteries in parallel, four battery parallel banks, all of those connected in series. for a total of 16 batteries. I don't really even do the math on that. That's a massive amount of power. I think we're going to be just fine with 3 of these, 942 amp hours. Now, obviously, time will tell. You know, in the amount of time that we've had the Rossmonster, these have served us well, but we have struggled with the power output, with only having 660 amp hours. So far, we've had these installed for 2 weeks now, a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and they've been performing great. Charging with solar, charging with the alternator, charging with shore power, discharging what we've needed it to. These have performed very well so far, but obviously time will tell. So if you're interested in learning how these work for us on our adventures, be sure and subscribe and hit the bell notification, because if we start having trouble with these, I will let you know. I will talk about all that in future videos if we're having issues with these batteries. Now, let me go put this back in the setup. I'll show you how that's configured and show you what else I've done in the Rossmonster to expand our usable power for what we're doing. So let's go get this back installed, and I'll show you around the rest of the stuff that I've done. All right, here's my setup. Got all 3 batteries connected in parallel. This is where my 2 Victron batteries used to be. And I added that one over here, put a bracket down there, moved a few things around, and it works fantastic. Everything integrates great with the Victron charging stuff. In here, I'm not gonna pull that out, but in there's all the brains and stuff, the inverter and MPPT charger, solar charger, that sort of stuff. Everything runs great with the Victron control panel up here. So everything's working perfectly. Now inside the cab, I'm really pumped because I added a 1500 watt inverter connected to the batteries back there, and then added multiple USB-C and A outputs and a 12 volt socket down at the bottom. So I can power just about anything I need to up here, keep camera batteries charged, plug laptops into the inverter when we're editing on the road. That's going to be awesome. And with just put everything here in the goose gear platform, everything wired up there, bus bars here, black going to ground on the frame, red going all the way back to the batteries with a 2-AUG wire. This should be a very nice and very sweet setup for our travels. So I'm pumped. This is going to be, I think, an awesome setup for us. We've got a short trip coming up just right after Christmas down to Big Bend, Texas area, Big Bend National Park, Big Bend State Park area, that whole area down there, where we'll spend a good week traveling and camping, and I don't know, we may stay down there longer. I don't know. But that will be the first real test of this on the road, being out, being used. And I'm pumped about that. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you are considering, larger capacity batteries for your, full-size truck camper, your RV, your van, your overlanding trailer type of deal, so far, been really impressed with the Wattcycle 314 amp hour batteries. I think they're going to do exactly what we need them to. So yay for that. Hope you found this video helpful. If you would, like, subscribe, give us the YouTube love, check out the Patreon link in the description if you want to consider supporting the channel. Gain access to special events, special content, all of our GPS data from our travels, and for all of our merchandise, go to shopoverlandapparel.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.